It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Good morning. Welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News. On this is Thursday. What is it today? The 27th day of April, 2023. Coming to you from Bedford County, Virginia, Central Virginia area. I'm getting ready to go on a boat again, folks. Getting close. I'll leave here Sunday, get on board the Norwegian Joy on Monday for the cruise that Mr. Bucket List and I are going to host. Got a nice little group. I've conversed with a number of them. Justin and I will be, guys, Mr. Bucket List, of course. He and I will be going live at 7 o'clock tomorrow evening to talk about what we're going to do and where we're going to meet and all those kind of things. We're inviting not only our group to come, but also any of the other solo folks that are on board the Joy for the May 1st sailing, or anybody just interested in finding out some information about solo cruising and hosted solo cruises, because Justin and I seem to know a little bit about that. So anyway, we're going to go over, of course, what we're going to do on the cruise as well. So, but we're opening it up to anybody, and of course, we'll answer any and all questions that you might have. I was hoping to have some specific information, i.e. pricing and so forth, for the December cruise on the Escape. I can tell you this, it's going to sail on December 2nd. It's a Jamaica cruise and go over the ports. I know I'm going to be hosting it, and I know we got a list of people waiting to get the information on so they can book it. So this is going to end up being a really big cruise, I think, in December. And hopefully we'll have all the details. Sometimes we're in a situation where everybody seems to be someplace, like Pete's on a cruise right now, or starting one today, I think. So he's been in Malta. One of the big wigs in the company, he was gone for a while. But anyway, everything is all approved. I actually have my cabin booked. So, we're ready to go from our end. It's just getting the information together so we can get it out and start booking it. If you haven't done so, please consider giving us a thumbs up or a thumbs down. We'd appreciate the thumbs up, however. If you haven't subscribed, take this as my invitation to subscribe. Hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when I go live or when a new video is up. All right. The top story today has to deal with Royal Caribbean Quantum of the Seas. Get to that in a second. Today, folks, is National Prime Rib Day. Any of you that have followed me for a while know that I will take advantage of that. I love prime rib. So go out and have some prime rib today. If you are listening via the podcast and you ever want to jump over to the video feed, there's always a link in the description of the podcast so you can do just that. Of course, you can always access the podcast via my blog, which is accessadventure.net, or wherever you get your podcast from. All the big guys, just search for Travel and Cruise Industry News, and I'll pop up. Shortly before midnight on Tuesday, Quantum of the Seas initiated emergency procedures for man overboard and activated search and rescue. The cruise ship slowed and returned to the area when the alert was first sounded. Tracking data shows that Quantum of the Seas, diverting her planned route approximately 870 miles south of Hawaii. Guests on board have reported that several announcements were made for a passenger to call guest services, which is one of the first steps in an attempt to locate a missing person suspected to have gone overboard. There's no confirmation at this time, however, whether the individual involved is a passenger or a crew member. However, information that I have gathered independently says it was a passenger, nor are there any details of the individual's gender, age, or the circumstances of the possible overboard. I have found independently that it was a gentleman. He was from Australia. The ship has now resumed course to Kona, Hawaii at about 19 knots. The overboard alert occurred during the 5th day at sea between French Polynesia and Hawaii. Because of the isolation of the area, search efforts were undoubtedly challenging, but the proper authorities were alerted to the situation. At this time, there is no suspected delay in Quantum of the Seas itinerary or her arrival in Hawaii, as it's easy for cruise ships to make up time during days at sea. Now, what I've also found about the gentleman that went overboard at this point, and it is after an unsuccessful search was carried out, the gentleman is believed to be the partner of a passenger who died on the vessel during a medical emergency hours earlier. Sad situation. But that's the information that I've been able to garner at this point. All right, back right after this.
Do you have a bad back, bad hips, bad knees, or any other mobility issues? Think about Scoot-Around. For scooters, walkers, wheelchairs, even oxygen needs, delivered right to your cabin. Scoot-Around for all your mobility needs on your upcoming cruise.
And of course, I'll be using the Scoot-Around scooter starting on Monday when I get on board the Norwegian Joy. I will also have my new power wheelchair with me. I probably will use the scooter on the cruise ship. I will use the wheelchair when I go ashore for excursions because it's light enough that gives me some flexibility on what I can do. As some of you that follow my blog, I've posted 3 posts now on accessible excursions that I've found on ports of call coming up on the May 1st cruise that are accessible. At least they claim to be accessible. I can't 100% guarantee that because I've not been on any of them. But I hope to change that next week. The next story today has to deal with Carnival. Carnival Cruise Line is bringing back a giveaway program for military veterans that sail aboard any Carnival cruise ship. And what they're bringing back is a chance to win a free cruise. Veterans who set sail aboard any Carnival cruise ship and attend the Veterans Gathering held during every Carnival cruise will be able to enter a raffle drawing for a free cruise to be given away each month. The exact terms and conditions of the monthly giveaways are yet to be announced, but is likely to be similar to the pre-pandemic programs that Carnival used. Early requirements and restrictions will remain the same as previous giveaways, we believe, though some terms may be adopted to new cruising guidelines in the post-pandemic travel industry. Interested guests should note that all raffle entries from all 25 ships in the Carnival fleet are pooled together for each month's giveaway, and only one free cruise will be awarded per month. As new ships join the fleet, like the Carnival Venezia, will debut in May, Carnival Jubilee in December, Carnival Firenze in May of 2024. More veterans gatherings will be held. More entries will be accepted for each month's giveaway. All right. Don't go away. I'll be back with the rest of the news after a quick break from one of our network sponsors. Yesterday, we talked about the Norwegian sun, and this is kind of an update on what we got to yesterday. The sun is currently on a 20-night Panama Canal cruise, and technical issues caused her to remain in Cartagena. The problems led to power outages and the air conditioning system going offline. The ship departed 27 and a half hours late from the original schedule, with significant adjustments to the Panama Canal transit and some changes to port visits. Norwegian Cruise Line offered a revised itinerary in a letter sent to guests on board. The most significant change is the Panama Canal transit, initially scheduled for the 25th, but rescheduled for today. Actually, they're in the canal as we speak. The call to Punta Arenas, Costa Rica, originally planned for today, has been canceled and replaced with a call to Colón, Panama, yesterday. The timings for the call to Ajutla, El Salvador, have been adjusted. The original schedule had the ship arriving at 7 a.m., departing at 7 p.m. on the 29th. The new timings show the vessel arriving at 1, departing at 9 on the same date. As a gesture of goodwill for the inconvenience caused by the technical difficulties, Norwegian Cruise Line has arranged for $100 non-refundable onboard credit per stateroom, not even per person. The credit will be split between guest 1 and guest 2 in each cabin. A little chintzy. Despite the delay and changes to the itinerary, Norwegian Sun continues on its 20-night cruise with stops in Puerto Quetzal, Huatulco, Acapulco, Manzanilla, Puerto Vallarta, and Cabo San Lucas, Victoria and British Columbia, and finally in Seattle, Washington on May the 11th, where she will undertake a rigorous Alaska sailing season for this year. Don't get to talk about Viking a whole lot, but they announced today that the cruise line has taken delivery of the newest ship, Viking Saturn. The delivery ceremony took place at Fincantieri shipyard in Ancona, Italy. Viking Saturn will spend her inaugural cruises sailing around the North Atlantic between U.S., Iceland, and Norway. At the same time the handover was announced, Viking also announced its newest and ninth ocean-going cruise ship will be named during a ceremony in New York City by the esteemed philanthropist and chairman of the Metropolitan Opera, Ann Ziff. Before the original naming ceremony on June 6th, the ship will embark on a series of cruises in the Mediterranean and Northern Europe, as well as a 14-night epic Greenland cruise from Iceland to New York City. On May 2nd, Viking Saturn will sail on her maiden voyage, a 7-night Western Mediterranean cruise. The cruise will sail from Civitavecchia, visit Livorno, Monaco, Marseille, and Sète France, and conclude in Barcelona. And finally, in the news this morning, will they do it? Port Canaveral, man, it looks like they are considering construction of another cruise terminal on the south side of the port, with a project cost of $175 million, anticipated opening in 2026. The proposal will be discussed at an upcoming meeting of the Carnival Port Authority commissioners. The decision to build a new terminal comes in anticipation of 2 new cruise ships being added to the port's lineup, with one year-round and the other seasonal, starting in late 2024. The port is waiting for cruise lines to make official announcements before disclosing details about the new ships. We have some thoughts on what that might be. One of them most likely will be a rather large and auspicious Royal Caribbean ship. Not that I'm making any predictions on that. There's also a pretty fancy Carnival ship heading this way. We'll see. All right, that's going to wrap up the news portion of the show today. Don't forget, we do have the Cruise Amigos this afternoon at 12:30 my time. That's 11:30 Central Time for John, 5:30 British Summer Time for Martin. John says he's going to be there today. However, he's having a medical procedure, probably as we speak. He's having a not a colonoscopy. That's the other end. He's doing the oh hell, what are they called? I know it's not a colonoscopy up here, folks. I do know that much difference. A gastroscopy, or they're sticking a tube down his throat. And he says, "Oh yeah." He says, "I'll be there." I said, "Yeah, right. I would, but we'll see." So John might not be at his effervescent self today, which that's okay. Martin has a get together with the Cruise Monkeys as we start, and he hopes to join us before it's over with. We'll see. All right, let's go see who's in the chat room and fussing at me today. Yo, Brooklyn in the house. Hey, Eddie. Mike's with us. Amy's here. Hi there, Tom is here. He's up in Port Canaveral. When's the rocket going to get shot off hot air, Tom? Nikki's here. Dennis is with us. Hey, Dennis. Nikki, are you bringing the new chair on Sunday? Hot air wants to know. Dennis asked Tom, did you stop by Bucky's? Steve's with us again. Hey, Steve, good to see you again, my friend. Hot air says no Bucky's near here. Up by Nikki. Nikki says probably the scooter, not the chair. Message me the details. A lady posted in a Bliss group wondering how high the railings are, worried about falling over due to the Royal Caribbean news. It takes some doings to go overboard on a ship, folks. It really does. Katie's with us. Good morning, Katie. Today is also National Gummy Bear Day. Oh, no, thank you. You know, the red ones are more better. Yeah, no, I hate gummy bears. I don't like that consistency. And you know, I tried one of John's products that are gummy bears. I hated it. I love the product. I love it in the chocolate mint form, but not gummy bears. That is the consistency and making my teeth stick together. And yeah, no. There's Tom says, looking forward to seeing everybody Sunday around 2:00. I'll be in Miami by Sunday at 2:00. He sent his cell to each of you, and we will be waiting in the parking area of Gators, watching the water. Let's see. Oh, Hot Air says he's got his white BMW with him. Okay. Sonny's with us. Hi, Sonny, down in Mississippi. Gastroscopy. That's it, Mike. I'm glad you thought of it because I couldn't come up with it. There's Mr. Bucket List. Justin and I'll be talking to everybody tomorrow night at 7:00. Says I'll be seeing you soon. Yep, that's coming up pretty close, my friend. I'm pretty excited about it. Matter of fact, my project for today after Cruise Amigos, I've got to take my stuff out in the garage and practice with my chair on what I've got to do to push suitcases and my carry-on bag and stuff, just so I get a little better handle on what I do if I get stuck and have to maneuver all that stuff inside with the chair. So I'm going to go play a little bit just to see what works out. But it is interesting, Justin, that almost every one of the excursions from Norwegian says they're not suitable for guests in wheelchairs or scooters. And yet I'm finding excursions, and they're reasonably priced excursions. They're not, the super expensive ones. A lot of the times some of the folks have, really expensive excursions, which obviously, they're good. They take care of people really well, and they know how to do it, and they've got all the equipment and so forth to do it. But these are pretty moderately priced excursions. So we'll see. I've got to test it out further. I got to see for myself how accessible they are, but every one of them is marked handicapped accessible. So, I would prefer that they used wheelchair accessible or just accessible. But anyway, that's me. Hot Air Tom says we can see with binoculars the Falcon Heavy on the pad 39A. Remember to use Shake Shack as the destination when searching the bus schedule for South Beach. Okay. One thing that I was curious about, and I don't know if you know, Dennis, the buses down there, are they accessible? Can I get my wheelchair either underneath, like in a luggage compartment, or on board the bus? If I would do the bus thing, I've seen mixed bag on that one. I need a little cart to attach to my chair for luggage and other stuff. Yeah, Hot Air Tom, you keep trying to confuse my life. That's something else that I have to deal with. I'd like to figure it out without doing something extra. Mr. Bucket's list says that's great news. Yeah, I'm going to be able to do something, at the ports. I'm getting pretty excited about this one. I'm getting really excited about it. Kenneth's with us up in Pennsylvania. Said he's late today. Well, that's okay. Dennis says they should be. All right, that's good to know. Because I've got all day Sunday. I mean, assuming the flight's on schedule, I'm flying out of Richmond at 6:20, I think it is. I'm pretty sure it's a direct flight. So, I mean, I'll be in Miami like 8:30. I know I can't get in the Intercontinental, in the room until much later in the day, but I'm hoping I can go by there and get the concierge to, stick my luggage in the back room or something. And then I've got all day to go explore in Miami, which will be fun for me. I have not done a lot of Miami exploring for a long time. Clearly not. And most of the time I don't have a scooter there. So that limits me. Now I'll have the chair so I can do some squirreling around a little bit. And there's a lot to see down there on the water. So Kenneth says, how did you like the Panama Canal cruise? Was it worth, except losing your phone? I know, but was it nice? Oh, it was terrific. Yeah, I enjoyed the cruise. I did something a little bit unusual in that in the canal itself. I mean, everybody, especially in the locks, it's just nuts on deck. Everybody wants to see it. So there's a rush of people. That's never good for me, because people will run over me and bang into me and stuff there's no clue when they got tunnel vision. But what I discovered was the ship's camera. What do they? It's not a port cam, deck cam. They call it something else. But anyway, it's a camera up on the front of the boat. It's not called the bow cam. Anyway, and that was broadcast live on the television in the rooms. Well, and the cruise director was doing the play-by-play. So he had all kinds of information and made it very interesting he was talking on the TV with what was happening from the ship. And I enjoyed that. I mean, obviously I was on the deck for some of it just so I could witness it. But then when I discovered that, I sat in the room and watched the good 2/3 of the canal on my television. And it was, it wasn't near as hot as it was up on the deck. And I didn't have to deal with people. And I got more information than I would have just sitting up there looking. So yeah, it was. I spent a good bit of that day in my cabin. So Nikki says my son will be in Richmond this weekend for the beard mustache competition. Okay, good for him. Dennis says to Justin, make sure you go to the Lincoln Road Promenade in South Beach. Avoid Ocean Drive, the tourist armpit of South Beach. Bridge camera. There you go, Mike. Damn, Mike's bailing me out today because I've got a pickled brain, I guess. Well, it happens at my age. Yeah, a bridge cam. That's what they call that thing. Thank you, Mike. That's twice today Mike bails me out because my brain's not working. All right, that's going to wrap me up for today, guys. Again, don't forget Cruise Amigos coming up shortly. I'll be at 11:30 Central Time 12:30 Eastern time, 5:30 British Summer Time. And we'll see what happens today. Who knows? Might just be just me again, like it was last week. But we'll see. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for today. As always, stay safe, stay healthy. Think about cruising. And one day soon, we'll all get together on the high seas. Have a fantastic day, everybody. See you for the Cruise Amigos or tomorrow on this show. Later, y'all.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.